Greetings and thanks for coming back to the Robert the Appraiser YouTube channel. We are continuing on in our series on how the number of bedrooms and how we count bedrooms affects the value of a piece of property and also the marketability. Now, I believe that the first response that many, including myself, might have is, how much can be said for number of bedrooms in a house, and why is knowing how to count them so difficult? It seems fairly rudimentary, but if you be patient with me and go through the entire series on bedroom count, I think you'll see there's a lot of valuable information here. Today I want to cover the concept of contribution value. And what we're really looking at when we look at bedrooms, and we're trying to understand what the house would sell for, and maybe there's an extra room that could be counted as a fourth bedroom or a fifth bedroom, or it could be looked at as just an extra room, a bonus room, an office, a media room. And we're trying to understand for you as the realtor or you the seller, whether to count that bedroom in the overall bedroom count or to just count it as a room, mention it in the agent notes, and for me, whether to put it in the gross living area section of the appraisal. These are important questions, and they're not exactly surface level answers. They don't always come easily. Sometimes it takes a little bit of study and analysis to try to figure out what the right direction is. Now, again, getting back to what I want to cover today is contribution value. Imagine the question that you have a house that has 3 dedicated bedrooms, and everything about those rooms matches up with everything you would expect of a residential bedroom. It is in a residential or a bedroom location of the house. It's somewhat private. It has a bedroom door. It has a closet. It has a window large enough to escape, and it is designed, built, and used as a bedroom. Now let's consider there's another room, okay? And it could potentially be counted as a fourth bedroom, okay? Now, if you are to count that fourth room as a bedroom, the question we want to answer is, what is the contribution value of that fourth bedroom? Are we actually contributing to the value and improving the marketability of the house based on adding that in as a fourth bedroom, as opposed to calling it a bonus room or a media room or some other type of room? That's a question that is not as simplistic as you might assume, or as we might assume. And so at this point, I want to take you and show you a textbook definition of contribution value. But before I take you literally to the textbook that I have in my hand, which is called The Appraisal of Real Estate, this is a 700-page book that I always recommend the people that I've trained in real estate to read the whole thing. It takes quite a while to read the whole thing. Before I get into the textbook definition of contribution value, I want to suggest to realtors to use our terminology, our professional terminology, as much as you can when you're speaking to your clients. You're going to be obviously more knowledgeable and professional in their eyes when they hear you say something like, well, the contribution value of a swimming pool such as that is usually, and then you give some number, rather than saying, well, I'm not sure how much that pool adds to the value. You see the difference? We want to sound professional when we talk, and that's one of the purposes of this channel, is to give realtors the kind of language that we have in our textbooks of our industry. So with that, we'll go ahead and take a look at the textbook definition of contribution value. So what we have on the screen is a photocopy of the section from The Appraisal of Real Estate titled Contribution. I'm going to read this definition, but from time to time I'll stop and give what I consider to be valuable commentary on this. It reads, the principle of contribution states that the value of a particular component. Now, component would include in-ground swimming pools, additional garages, finished basements, additional bedrooms, and many other components, a deck, a front porch, a screened-in porch, okay? This is what is understood by the term component. So the component is measured in terms of its contribution to the value of the whole property, or as the amount of its absence would detract from the value of the whole. In other words, you could look at the contribution of a swimming pool based on how much less would the house be worth if there was no pool. To continue, the cost of an item does not necessarily equal its value. Now, a swimming pool that costs $10,000 to install does not necessarily increase the value of a residential property by $10,000. Rather, the pool's contribution to value is measured in terms of how valuable its benefit or utility, remember we covered utility, is in the market. Its contribution to the value may be lower or higher than its cost. Thus, in some cases, a property's market value may not increase even though the real estate has undergone alteration, modification, or rehabilitation. The contribution of existing improvements may not be in proper balance with the total property, especially in areas of rapid transition. A property's present use may utilize the land. Nevertheless, an existing less than optimal use, called an interim use, will continue until it is economically feasible for a developer to absorb the cost of converting the property by either raising and replacing or rehabilitating the existing improvement. So thank you for bearing with me while I read that definition of contribution, which I think most of us would agree can be rather dry and long. And let me try to simplify what it's saying. Okay, I'll start out with the swimming pool example that it gave in the definition, and then I'm going to relate it back to our topic of bedroom count. So in a nutshell, what it's saying is, and this is an old book, so it's using $10,000 for a swimming pool, where what I usually see in the market is more like $30,000 to $50,000 for an in-ground swimming pool. But nevertheless, let's just say if you spent $30,000 on a swimming pool, and as a result, the house sold for $20,000 more than it would have without the swimming pool. So you can extract that $20,000 and you can say the swimming pool contributed $20,000 to the overall value of the house or the real estate. Now, getting back to that in terms of bedrooms, if you have 3 obvious legitimate bedrooms and then there's a 4th bedroom that might be able to be counted as a bedroom, the question you want to answer or ask yourself is, if I count this as a 4th bedroom, will this contribute more to the house than if I count it as, say, a media room or a loft or a den? This is a question that is answered on a case-by-case basis. But understanding this series on bedrooms will give you the skills and the knowledge and the ability to analyze these questions so that when you find yourself looking at this type of a house, you'll be able to find out what the best solution to the problem will be. Thank you for listening to this video on bedroom count, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe.